Picture the heart of a bustling city during rush hour. Sirens wail, people push past each other, everyone's glued to their phones as if their lives depend on it. But amidst all that chaos, you notice one man moving differently. He's strolling, no phone in hand, no rush in his step, no stress on his face. He glides with a calm that almost makes time slow down around him. He doesn't look rich or poor, he just looks free. Around him, everyone else is in a mad scramble. People are checking stock prices, juggling calls, chasing the next thing like life is some kind of race. But this man, he's not racing. He's not vying for anyone's approval or cutting in line to get ahead. He's not climbing some ladder that might not even have a top. And that, right there, makes him dangerous. You might not clock it at first, but once you do, you can't ignore it. In a sea of anxious, hurried faces, his calm presence practically shouts at you. Part of you might find it inspiring. Another part might find it unsettling. That's the effect of true freedom when it quietly crosses your path. It makes you question everything. He's not plugged into the same machine as the rest of us. He doesn't measure himself by the usual metrics: money, titles, social media likes. None of that. He doesn't care if anyone thinks he's successful, and he has zero interest in proving them wrong either. He's moving to the beat of his own drum. And in a world that wants to keep you dependent and desperate for validation, living like that is a downright act of rebellion. His mere existence poses a challenging question. What if freedom isn't about what you can earn or buy, but about what you can live without? What if real success isn't measured by accumulation, but by liberation? What if the whole game is rigged and the smartest thing you can do is stop playing? Questions like that send a chill through society's spine because they poke at the lie we're all sold. The truth is, most people aren't chasing money out of pure passion. They're driven by fear. Fear of being judged, fear of falling behind, fear of not being enough in the eyes of others, fear of ending up invisible and irrelevant. But the man who isn't afraid of those things, the one who couldn't care less about judgment or keeping up with the Joneses, that man has already won. He's free in a way that scares people stuck in the rat race. Let's be honest, our society isn't built on money alone. It's built on the fear of not having money. The whole system runs on that anxiety. Think about it. Every major industry, education, tech, media, advertising, profits from your insecurity. They tell you your worth depends on a salary, a degree, a brand of shoes, the car you drive. They say comfort is weakness and rest is laziness. They push the idea that if you ever step off the gas, you'll fall behind and be forgotten. And this programming starts early. From childhood, you're trained to earn approval instead of understanding yourself. School teaches you to follow the rules, check the boxes, get the grades, but not to ask why. You learn to chase gold stars and pats on the head, so later you can chase promotions and pay raises. By the time you're an adult, they hand you off to corporations that promise you fulfillment in exchange for 40, 50, 60 hours of your week. But what do they really give you? Deadlines, endless emails, and debt. Sure, you get a paycheck, but you're too burnt out to enjoy it. It's a bait and switch that keeps you running on the treadmill. It's like the circus elephant that's been tied up since it was young. At first it tries to break free but can't, so it gives up. By the time it's grown, it could snap the rope easily, but it doesn't even try because it believes the lie that it's still trapped. In the same way, we're conditioned not to question the system, even though many of our chains exist only in our minds. Then one person like our friend here stops pulling the cart. He realizes the rope isn't real. He steps out of line. The man who doesn't chase money breaks that whole cycle. Naturally, the system doesn't know what to do with a guy like that, so it slaps a big, fat label on him. Calls him lazy, calls him unrealistic, might even call him a loser or a bum. But let's get one thing straight. Those labels are lies. They're scare words, weapons used to herd everyone back to the status quo. It's almost funny, isn't it? The people running themselves ragged are calling the one guy who isn't lazy. That's how scared the system is of a free man. A man like him is a glitch in the matrix, not because he's broken, but because he's the one person who's whole. He figured out something the system would rather you never realize. He learned that wealth has nothing to do with numbers in a bank account. Real wealth is not needing so much in the first place. Erich Fromm, the philosopher, once asked, "If I am what I have and what I have is lost, then what am I?" Think about that. The system sure doesn't want you to. Because the minute you start defining yourself by who you are instead of what you own, you become a lot harder to control. As long as you never ask that question, you'll keep running in their hamster wheel, chasing things that can disappear in an instant. And this man, he's not afraid of having less or having nothing. Why would he be? He knows exactly who he is without a fancy job title, without a big bank balance, without anyone else's applause. Let me ask you, if all of those things were stripped away from you, would you still know who you are? He would, because his identity, his joy comes from things that money can't touch. A sunrise, a deep conversation, a clear mind, a moment of real connection. Now you might say, okay, but we all need money to live. And you're absolutely right. This isn't about pretending money doesn't matter at all. Bills have to be paid, food has to be on the table. But beyond the necessities, money is a means, not an end. This isn't telling you to quit your job and go live in the woods, unless that's your dream. It's saying, don't let the pursuit of money own you. Because past a certain point, chasing more money or more stuff adds stress, not happiness. When you find that point of enough and stop needing more, that's when you start to feel truly alive. And that feeling, it's like kryptonite to our consumer culture. When you're content, you're not out there buying stuff you don't need to fill a void. When you're grounded, you're not glued to the news getting scared into buying the next solution. When you don't rise to every provocation or trend, you become the one thing this marketplace fears. A customer it can't seduce, an audience it can't capture. Henry David Thoreau understood this back in the 1850s. He left town to live by a quiet pond because he wanted to strip life down to its essentials. He spent his days in nature and reflection, doing just enough work to meet his needs. He didn't retreat from life, he discovered a deeper life. He found that having what he needed and nothing more was not deprivation, it was freedom. You couldn't tempt Thoreau with a high salary or scare him with losing comfort, because he had already let go of those as measures of a good life. He had what he needed. Anything beyond that was extra weight. The fewer your needs, the fewer the chains that can be used to bind you. Now, achieving that kind of freedom isn't a mere tweak in lifestyle, it's a transformation in mindset. It's like an inner revolution that flips your values upside down in a good way. It starts with freeing yourself from artificial desires. How many times have you chased something, maybe a new phone, a promotion, a certain body image, only to find it wasn't even what you truly wanted? We inherit so many of our desires from advertising, from peer pressure, from what society tells us. Imagine pausing and asking, do I actually want this, or am I just told I should? The moment you do that, you start wanting a lot less, but the things you do want become so much more meaningful. Next comes defining your own success. We're taught to measure ourselves by metrics like likes, dollars, and job titles. But what if you tore up that scorecard and made your own? Maybe success for you is having a calm morning with your kids, or creating something artful, or just not being anxious all the time. When you decide what matters, you stop needing the world's permission to feel good about your life. Another key is learning to stand on your own emotionally. It's great to have loved ones, but there's a difference between sharing life with others and depending on them for your every emotional need. When you enjoy your own company and can find peace on a quiet evening alone, you break the dependency on external validation. Your mood isn't a roller coaster tied to who paid attention to you today. It's more steady, under your control. And then there's the guts to be yourself socially. That might be the hardest. We're social creatures. We want to belong. But chasing money often ties into chasing social approval too. The prestige, the envy of others. Real freedom means sometimes being okay with disappointing people or sticking out like a sore thumb. It means saying, I'm going to do my thing even if you think I'm weird for it. Not everyone will applaud, but the right people will respect you for it. And more importantly, you'll respect yourself. Put all that together and you become something powerful, a person who lives life on their own terms. You stop acting for the crowd. You start living for real. You've essentially removed the strings that society loves to pull. And here's a twist. Each of those inner freedoms flies in the face of what society wants from you. Society wants you always hungry for something because that's what keeps the economy going. It wants you measuring yourself against others, never feeling complete. It wants you a little emotionally needy, so you'll buy whatever it's selling to fill the void. And it absolutely wants you to fit in because if you stand out, you might lead others out with you. So when you cultivate these strengths, you're rebelling in the most profound way. You're taking back control of your mind and your life. Now, I won't lie, walking this path isn't easy. It can get lonely. Not everyone will cheer you on. In fact, some people will think you're out of your mind. They'll say you're wasting your talent or being irresponsible. They might call you lazy because you're not visibly grinding yourself into the ground like they are. You might even lose some relationships or make others uncomfortable. When you change, it reminds others that they're not changing, and that can sting. But that's their issue, not yours. Some friends might drift away, and that's okay. The ones who matter will stick around or eventually understand. You can't live your life trying to keep everyone else comfortable. On a practical level, you might make choices that others just don't get. Maybe you turn down a promotion because it would chain you to an 80-hour work week. Or you decide you're fine with a smaller apartment or an older car because it means you're not shackled to a huge loan. People might look at you funny, but so what? You've decided what's important, and you're living by it. That's incredibly rare. And for every door you close, a new world opens up. You say no to working Sunday, and suddenly you have Sunday to do something that nourishes you. You opt out of chasing a bigger house, and you realize you just freed yourself from decades of debt. You might not have the latest model car, but you have the afternoon off to take a walk with your kid, or to read, or to just relax. That clarity, that breathing room, that's what success feels like on the inside. The crazy thing is, a lot of people won't even recognize what you have as success. We're so brainwashed to equate success with hustle and status that peace and contentment barely register. Folks might think you lack ambition or drive. But you and I know that's not true. You've just traded shallow goals for deeper ones. Because real success isn't about someone else's checklist. It's about living a life that feels right to you. By now, it should be clear why a person like this freaks out the status quo. You've removed yourself from the usual controls. You're not feeding the machine anymore, and that machine gets nervous when it sees someone walking away. Think about it. If enough people did that, what would happen? The economy as we know it would have to change. The whole social order would shift towards something better. That's the system's worst nightmare. Even on a one-to-one level, you represent something unsettling to people who haven't figured it out. Your presence asks a silent question. Why are you still racing? Some will get defensive. They might try to pull you back with jabs or with well-meaning advice to be realistic. They might outright dismiss you or gossip about how you've lost it. But don't let any of that stop you. Use it as motivation. Every snide comment or doubting look is just proof that you possess something they don't know how to get. Remember, the nail that sticks up gets hammered down, not because it's wrong, but because it's different. So maybe you'll be that nail for a while. That's fine. Embrace it. Also remember, this journey isn't about demonizing money or the modern world. It's not an all or nothing deal where you have to renounce every comfort. It's about making sure you own your life and that nothing owns you. Money, technology, society, they're tools. Just don't let them become your master. Start with little steps. Take a breather from the constant noise. Maybe you unplug from social media for a weekend and see how you feel, or you decline an overtime shift to spend that evening on something or with someone you love. Feel what it's like to have that space, that moment of this is my life and I'm actually living it. Question your habits. Do you really need to check your email right before bed? Do you really need to upgrade your phone when the one you have works just fine? Each time you answer no to something that doesn't truly add value to your life, you reclaim a bit of your freedom. Value your time like it's the most precious currency, because it is. Protect your attention from getting hijacked by trivial things. Spend it on what lights you up, whether that's learning or family or art or exploring the world. When you do spend money, think of it as trading your life energy for something. Make sure it's worth it. Live intentionally, live deeply, live truthfully. The man who stepped away from chasing money didn't get lost. Far from it, he found himself. He's not short on drive, he's fueled by a purpose that actually means something to him. And in a world where nearly everyone has a price, the man who doesn't chase money is a reminder that not everything and not everyone is for sale. You can't buy him and you can't bully him. That's what makes him the most radical, transformative force of all, a free human being. If this struck a chord, give it a like. If you're still here, it clearly resonated. That simple click lets me know and helps others find this message. And if you want more content like this, hit subscribe. We're just getting started on this journey, and there's a lot more to explore. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt the urge to live life on your own terms? Share in the comments. I read them all. Your story might inspire someone else. In the end, the greatest threat to a hollow society is a person who needs nothing from it. Be that person, need nothing, and watch how unstoppable you become.